Hello and welcome to another edition of Convict Inc. I'm your host, Robert Rosso. A lot of new subscribers. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. If you like this video, please push like and share. Before I get into this video, which has been one of the toughest decisions I've made so far on my YouTube channel, was to go ahead and talk about another YouTube content creator. Before I do, let me say this. To the family member of Bobby Manna, who reached out to me last week, I had every intention of doing this week about Bobby Manna. Not a whole lot to say really about Bobby, but I wanted to talk about his case. Bobby was a real quiet guy. I knew him for a long time, 4 or 5 years. He knows who I am. Or maybe he's older, maybe doesn't remember. I was young when I first came in. But yeah, I used to go talk to Bobby. He is up for compassionate release, you said. I was getting ready to do some research on it and kind of do a piece like Free Bobby Manna. Guy's way too old to be in prison. I don't care what happened, and it's costing taxpayers way too much money. Anyway. There will be a Bobby Manna piece. I was going to do it next week, but I think I might be doing Benny Geritano. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Back to the subject matter. Last week after I did the piece on Tommy Reynolds, I had people contacting me about certain things, saying Jimmy Calandra this, Jimmy Calandra that. No. I know who Jimmy Calandra is. Never met the guy. But because of my relationship with Tommy, which was very, very close, I feel like I know Jimmy anyway. So let me say this. My dad died in January, and it wasn't long after my dad died that I was watching YouTube, and I like first, I think, saw Jimmy. And of course, I'm still emotional and stuff like that. And I see Jimmy's channel, and I hear him talk, and you know what? I smiled, and I got a little bit emotional, I guess you would say, because I remember all the stories Tommy Reynolds telling me about things he did with Jimmy. And let me tell you, to everybody and to Jimmy, when he was telling stories about your past, like he didn't say, oh, this scumbag this or scum. He was just telling the stories about what happened with you guys as kids or youngsters. Recently, so I came across Jimmy, and there was, that's what I wanted to say. And there was like some kind of connection, you know, because of all the stories I've heard. And then I hear him tell stories on his channel all about these stories that I heard from different guys in prison. I was in Lewisburg for 5 years, around more than 50 mob guys, knew a lot of them, became friends with a lot of them. Danny Pharma, read his transcript, went back and forth with he wrote a book, and I wish he'd put it out because it was fantastic. A lot of guys. I knew a lot of guys. So a lot of the stories Jimmy tells, I already know, you know, so it's crazy just hearing it from. Plus, I went in prison when I was in my 20s. I seen pictures of him when he was in his early 20s. Now we're in our 50s, and our faces have changed stuff. So to see him kind of made me smile because, you know, I'm just being honest. So I watched Jimmy. I reached out to Jimmy. I said, hey, I'm a friend of Tommy Reynolds, before I even said anything to Tommy Reynolds. And I kind of wanted to reach out and say, hey, listen, you know what? I know the whole situation, but, you know, Tommy really didn't badmouth you. Of course, he's disgusted. Of course, he's upset, was back in the day. But there wasn't like, no, you know, this rat scumbag mother. It wasn't like that, you know? Would have liked to chop it up with Jimmy. If he would have came on the show right now, what I'm going to talk about, I would have said respectfully to him in questions. Nevertheless, I struggled with whether I was going to do this video. And one of the reasons is because, like I said, I didn't want to take on any other YouTube content creator, but I feel compelled to. It's like something was calling me because of and then I've been watching him. I have binge watched Jimmy Calandra over the last 48 hours. If my wife comes home later and she hears his voice, she's going to shoot me. I'm just a matter of expression. Sorry, New York guys that are used to shooting me. I'm just kidding. My wife's going to freak out. She'd probably divorce me if she even hears his name again. Because I stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning watching him. A bunch of them over and over. And I really got to know him better and his character better through the videos. And I picked out a lot of things. So let me say this also. If there's anybody in the medical field, especially the mental health field, psychiatry, psychology, I would encourage any student, probably maybe even to write a thesis, watch Jimmy Calandra's video after watching this video and see what I have to say. I am not a psychologist. I subscribed to Psychology Today magazine in prison for like 10 years, and I read them and I loved them. I am married to a girl with a background in psychology. So when we watch stuff, sometimes we will talk about, look at the body language. Well, look what he said this. Well, he keeps deflecting. Look at how he says he's a good guy all the time. Jimmy. Okay, so let's get there. I'm already 5 minutes in, 6 minutes in. People are going to be complaining. You get to the story, blah, blah, blah. But I have to. And I struggled. Saturday night, I woke up and I said, man, I can't do this. Truthfully, I was not going to do it. What really lit the fire today was it clicked that Jimmy, has this art about him where he will make you believe or think one thing, a lot like Joey Testa. In Joey Testa's mind, everybody's a scumbag. He told me 99% prisoners in Butner are scumbags, and he would stick up for the cops over the scumbags. He doesn't consider himself a scumbag. Doesn't consider himself a dope fiend, but he stays at pill line, hawking pills, all kinds of, okay, so forget about that. It clicked that after watching Jimmy over and over again, he has a lot of the same characteristics as Joey Testa, in my opinion. Again, one man's opinion. To Jimmy, I'm going to address you personally before I go here. I saw your Saturday's video where somebody said, hey, Convict Inc. did a blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, you know, so you said I reached out to you. You took a little shot, and that's cool. Meaning, you know, I don't know about this guy's story because of paperwork. Let me help Jimmy's followers understand what he's talking about. He is referring to paperwork as in a pre-sentence investigation report. Back in the day, in the 90s, if you went to federal prison, and especially, Jimmy, you didn't go to a USP or any hard prison. I did. You had to have your paperwork. If you didn't, you were toast. You had 30 days to get it. I got mine in 30 days. And my pre-sentence report says that I have no co-defendants and that I testified against nobody. So when you made a comment about you didn't really believe that maybe people would open up to me because of paperwork, I have my paperwork now. I was digging through my paperwork, I swear, before, because I was going to hold it up and show you this is what a pre-sentence report looks like that doesn't have a cooperation agreement. I did find a lot of things, including a whole story I wrote about Joey Testa that one day I'll do something with. And real quick, I'm sorry, I know I'm getting off the subject. It's called Butner Prison Officials Turn to Mob Hitman Resort to Mob Tactics, using Joey Testa for their hitman against me. Anyway, Jimmy. So, it is true. I am from California. It is true. I have a long history of addiction. I was a drug dealer. I never grew up in I couldn't even fathom growing up in the type of life that you guys have on the East Coast. Specifically New York, and also those Boston boys. Those are bad boys over there in Boston, by the way. Love them. I couldn't imagine waking up or having the social clubs where we're looking up to organized crime figures. Didn't, like I've said many times, never gave two rats ass about anybody. Mafia, John Gotti, blah, 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 Carmine. Never. Don't care. No. But it's a different life for you guys. I mean, they affected you guys. They changed the way your lives possibly could have been. The gun violence, having to walk out. Even me, I was a drug dealer as a kid. I never had a gun, never got robbed, never even thought about, I never even had a fight. I was a surfer, so different lifestyles. Anyway, went to prison in California, then Arkansas. Arkansas, California. I live in Arkansas. I have ties to both states. Took a life sentence on the chin. About 20 co-defendants. I was the leader organizer, they said. 1 count conspiracy. And they offered me, in the end, 2 years to tell, or I got life without parole. I took life without parole. I chose not to take other people down with me and share my misery. And I'm proud of the decision I made for me. That's not for everybody. And it doesn't mean you're not a man if you take a cooperation agreement. I'm going to say that here. And I know some people don't like me saying that. And I'm not some kind of, I'm not a rat sympathizer, and I'm not a rat hater. I'm not, I am a person trying to be a civilian in a world that I'm still getting used to. And I do prison consultant work, and based on that person and who they are, who their constitution, who their character is, I'd give them advice. If I thought that they were just gonna, I would never advise somebody to go turn and snitch on your friends. I would tell people that most people in the feds are cooperating. It's true. And Jimmy, I don't think he got hurt in prison. I think he hung out with organized crime figures. I could be wrong, because I was trying to figure that out for a reason. But anyway, that's the truth about the feds. Yeah, there's some tough prisons in the USPs. East Coast prisons are a lot softer than West Coast prisons. Sorry, guys on the East Coast, no disrespect. West Coast prisons are a lot harder. Anything west of Leavenworth gets harder. Not saying that there's not a few bad ones, but even in the FCIs, go harder. Okay, so let me get here. Let me go. And you can see, I'm really, here we go. Jimmy Calandra. I've watched your videos over and over, and I think that you're a fabulous storyteller. I mean, just grade A. No BS. You are going to be very successful at this. You've already got 25,000 subs. That's not really easy. I've only got 6, 7, whatever. I am not trying to make my name off of you. I know that will be said. That is not it. I am a close personal friend of Tommy Reynolds. I do know stories very intimately, including stuff about Pauly G's murder that you do not know. Now, having said that, the intro to your channel is awesome. Completely awesome. With the kids and stuff. However, that channel cannot be watched legally. Not supposed to be by anybody 18 years or over. Your theme is that you're trying to save children from the streets. I've got people right here on my YouTube. I'm going to tell you, can I get it up? And Jimmy, let me tell you something else I really, really like about you. And I told my wife I love this guy. I said that to her. And you don't know a bunch about tech either. I know less than you because I've just been on the internet 13 months, and really I've been relying on my wife, and I really need to learn better. I'm not doing interviews with people right now because I don't know how to do Zoom by myself. That's full disclosure. People that ask me, that watch my channel, that's why I haven't done them yet, because I don't know how to do Zoom by myself. If I did, I have so many interviews lined up. Anyway, so I love that about you, and I like that you shoot from the hip. You've basically done your whole show right now. You just do it one day. Okay, I'm just going to tell a story, and you do it. And that's a lot like what I do. You're also born in 1969, so was I. I'm 52, me and Tommy's birthday is a day apart. There's a lot of common things, and again, I do respect. Now, when it comes to saving kids from the street, herein lies the problem. Your opening to your video entices children to watch it. If any kid sees that, they're going to want to watch it, especially kids they're fascinated with crime. As Americans, we are just suckers for crime. It's a fact. That's why this channel's growing. That's why your channel's growing. It's part of our culture. This country's founded on criminals, really. So, I get it. But if the goal is to keep children away from it, you do a pretty good job of leading them to it. the intro itself me as a kid wouldn't want to lead me to it. You do sometimes say that you don't want, that you're doing it to keep children off the streets or getting involved in that life, and you do criticize that life a lot. You do all that. However, you also tell stories, you reminisce about childhood stories that you're fond of, and you can see there's some pain in you sometimes when you tell the story. You can. You're telling the story. When you told this, when I listened to the story about the girl and the crabs, I heard it, so I knew it was coming, and I was like, wow, you know? I almost felt like it was me, you, and Tommy Kickett in a room talking about this stuff. I swear to God, I did. So if there are people, and this is what I was going to say, who say that agree Calandra's a likable guy. He comes across as a sincere guy who admits his own faults and sincerely tried to move forward and have a good, productive life. All right. You went to prison for 6 years. No, I'm going to back up. I'm going to back up just a bit. You talk about the life and the environment in which you're born into. If nobody's watched Jimmy Calandra channel, please do so. He explains very well how people in his generation and possibly still get sucked into the organized crime life, about how the mafia controlled all the kids, the little farm teams for the mob. The Colombo had this kid's on this block, we're part of the Colombos. I mean, he does a fantastic job on breaking this all down. I mean, really, just bar none. I just think you're superb above the others when it comes to stuff like that. Now, one of the things is you talk about choices. You talk about crimes that you committed. When you talk about crimes you committed, you distance yourself a lot. You admit, and people say, Jimmy, I've got comments. Jimmy wears his heart on his sleeve. He's honest, blah, blah. You're honest about what happened, but you always had to say, but I was a good guy, or I wasn't like them, or he's a murderer, he's a scumbag. Or when you talk about your cooperating, you always bring up 3 people. There's 3 of us that cooperated. 3 of us cooperated the same thing. It's putting distance from your actions. I believe that you're not part of that street thing and you despise it. But I don't think you left the streets. I think the streets left you. And let me explain. You said in an interview with Mike Cordova, whatever, the DEA guy, I like that guy. You said that you admitted why you cooperated on that interview, not on others, but on that, you were very specific. Your back up was up against the wall. And you hated the rest of them for what they did to Pauly G. Those were your words. So when you decided to turn your life around and change, it wasn't about hating the life. It was about facing life without the possibility of release. And there was talk of death penalty in there too. New York's not a death penalty state. The feds did, but I think they had I don't know. Biden's got a moratorium right now. Who knows? There was talk of the death penalty. I've read Tommy's stuff. There was definitely talk of the death penalty. So you said your family said, Jimmy, come over. Jimmy, get out of life or whatever. I forgot. But the crux of your decision was based on self-preservation. It was based on not getting life without parole. I have not seen in your videos where you have fully taken responsibility for your actions. Other people have. I did it first, I saw it, but then as I went back and double watched, then I started seeing the common theme. Number 1, I'm from a good family. You say that. Meaning, I'm from a good family, they're all from bad family. Me good, they bad. That's why I call you Good Guy Jimmy, one of the reasons. That little nickname is between Good Guy Jimmy's on, so I'm not even, that's what I call you. That's what I kind of came up with. You say you're from a good family. Okay. I'm an Italian Catholic also. I went to Catholic school as a kid. My Nana, before she died, I think there was like a combined 98 grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and second great-grandchildren. Big Italian Catholic family, okay? When you say you came from a good family, what does that exactly mean? And this isn't on you. I did this too. When you said that, I used to tell people that in prison all the time. I came from a good family. Now, your family got divorced. I know, as being a child of the 80s such as you, and being an Italian Catholic, when your parents get divorced back in the 80s, back in the day, parents getting a divorce was taboo. That wasn't good family. That was a terrible family. That was the nuclear family unit was being destroyed. I'm not saying that's right. The stigma attached with that was horrible. So when you say good family, I'm not saying that your family's not good, like your mom's not a good person, your dad wasn't. I'm not saying that. But you have these rose-colored glasses on about your family, such as I did until recently. You then say your father was absent a lot. Now, good people can be bad parents. And when you talk about your family and you put yourself in a good guy position above the others, I'm good, they're scumbags. You say, when you say good family, your dad was absent from your life. The reason you became what you did was because your father wasn't there during the important times of your life. I don't know you, and you can be cussing me right now. My dad wasn't there either, Jimmy. My dad was a really good man. Thousands of people loved this man, right? He was absent during the major times of my life. And again, this is emotional to me because I'm going through this right now. Like, I still haven't dealt with a lot of the stuff after my dad's death. Like, didn't go to his funeral, all kinds of stuff, all right? And I was out. I got out of prison to see him, thank God. So we have these rose-colored glasses about our families on. That doesn't make any of them bad people. I'm not trying to put your family down. I'm trying to show you, when you put yourself above everybody else and sound from a good family, think about what you're really saying. They could be good people, but they were not a good family unit, or else you wouldn't have been doing. Is there no guys in the neighborhood that you grew up with that aren't successful, that aren't plumbers, doctors, lawyers, janitors, school? There are, because their families were there for them in the important times. You guys grew up in a totally different environment, like I said, but a good parent, not a good person, a good parent would have recognized at that time and said, whoa, my boy's in trouble. He's influenced by all these guys. I got to pull him in. Now, maybe your dad wasn't capable of it. I don't think mine was. Mine was also a social alcoholic. He was the leader of a labor's union. You know what unions are. I know you guys all do. My dad he worked his way up from a construction worker to the office as a business agent, and to a business manager. Laborers of North America, Local 802, and he also did work for the union. So please understand, this isn't a cut of your family. This is trying to show you, when you put yourself in the good guy persona, what the reality really was, because otherwise you wouldn't have been there. Now, having said that, you made your own choices. It wasn't your dad's fault. It wasn't your mom's fault. You made your own choices, became a product of your environment, if you will. That's totally fair. But even as teenagers, we still made our own choices. It was not, our parents could have done better to keep us from going around the path, but we loved it too. I was just a drug. So marijuana and cocaine, so in LA, where I'm from, San Pedro, the 80s were just, coke was everywhere. Everybody did it like marijuana. It was just prevalent everywhere. It was just common. So I loved that life. Even though it was the wrong, I did. I can't say that I didn't. You loved that life that you were in. Wrong or right, you did. Next, I see you bitter sometimes, and you blame the mob. The mob either killed us, used us, or made us cooperate. No, they didn't. They didn't. You made your own choices. They influenced you. They might have shaped you, but you made your own choices. So I see you deflect how you cooperated by blaming the mob. You've never said, like, I hear you say, like, I was guilty, I did this, I did that, but I didn't shoot, but I didn't kill nobody like everybody else did. I shot 3 people, but I didn't kill nobody. Let me address that. Jimmy Calandra, I know a lot about the law. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna jump on Vinny Giarratano's legal team here shortly. Hopefully, probably, more than likely. You drove the car to a double homicide in which Tommy Reynolds, which I know the whole story, I can tell you details, you drove. You were just as culpable as pulling the trigger as Tommy was. There is no difference between you and Tommy. None. You might want to believe that. You might say you're a good guy and Tommy was not. By the way, Tommy's parents stayed married. Yours didn't. So in back in those days, like I said, divorce was taboo. And I'm not saying that's right. I've been twice divorced. And you know what? A lot of our parents should have been divorced. I'm just going to say that. So that's not, I just want you to see. I want you to see. And anybody who pays attention to Jimmy Calandra to understand, I hope you understand what I'm saying. You distance yourself from that. Then you got in the car and what did you do? You drove and you hit somebody. What did you say? There was a guy in the back seat. What did he say? He made that comment about, this is like being in a video game or whatever. You never mentioned the name of the person that you hit. Did you ever apologize to that person? Did you ever, even when you talk about the story, there's no like, oh man, you know, and I was such a scumbag. I hit a guy. That's sincerity. You have not accepted responsibility for your actions, Jimmy. You have not. And the only reason I even care to say something is because you put other people down, right? And yeah, that's it, bro. I mean, that's it. Really, but there's plenty more. You, Pacello, I call Chris Pacello. You were the one that got the score from Chris Pacello. Basilio, you say, I think it's Pacello. Ludwigson, you did that. If it was not but for you, Jimmy, Judith Chertoff would still be alive. You took it. You got in the car, and when you guys went to the door, you knocked, right? You knocked. And let me say this. At the door, did you turn to Tommy and did you say anything about the safety? I'm asking, that's a yes or no. That's for you. You can address it or not. It doesn't matter. Hey, Tommy, is that safety on or is that safety off? And discombobulated Tommy, because it all happened so fast. And most important, and this is really what led me to this video. This was the part that people were jumping on me. When the lady opened the door, and I know this is tough for the family, but it's the truth, and her head blew off. What did you do, Jimmy Calandra? Did you really run back to the car and say, hey, Tommy, what happened? Or did you run back laughing? Ha ha! Hey, drop that gun and take the 2 cannolis to go, or one of the lines out of my... Which one did you do? Were you upset? Tommy, what happened? Or was there you and laughing boy Yamin in the back seat? Was laughing boy, you know... Remember, you say that you were the one that was the good guy, always liked to laugh and have a good time. You said that. You say that repeatedly. You always like to laugh and have a good time. Did you or did you not laugh when Tommy was saying, I'm going to hell for this one? Tommy was traumatized. Tommy's still traumatized over the sight, over what he did. But again, there is a legal doctrine. It's called the but-for doctrine. It's a legal term. Look it up. That means something could not have happened if it wasn't but for you. You took the score. In Staten Island, where you guys had no freaking business, by the way, and that was really ridiculous, but you took it. You did it. You trusted Chris. Judy Shirtoff, or I'm sorry to that family, I forgot, I'm not trying to, is dead today because of you. Because of you. So don't, it was accident, 100%. So, but the catalyst that brought all that together was you. I know that you've said that it was terrible. I know that you've kind of apologized, but you've never really accepted that part. You've never really said, my God, you owe the family as big as apology as Tommy. Have you ever said, like, just did a video and done that? Maybe you have, and maybe I missed it if that's the case. But you're not better than any of your other co-defendants. And when you present yourself or try to make people, and all these people think that Jimmy turned his life around. There is no doubt that Jimmy Calandra turned his life around. The issue becomes, has he fully accepted responsibility for actions? And if not, then you cannot move forward and go helping children and claim that you are, who you're claiming yourself to be. You help children. Your video is about to help children. Have you given any money to any children's benefits? Any of the money that made off YouTube, is it donated to any of the children's causes? Have you been to any of the youth organizations and give speeches and talk about life on the street and how bad it was? And if so, if you're doing that, I need to know this, please. How do you justify trying to keep kids away from a life of crime, but yet you want to glorify Pauly G? Remember, you want to say his name. You want to keep Pauly G's name alive. Yet, you refer to people who kill other people. Remember, you didn't kill nobody, Jimmy, you said. You did. You committed a double homicide, driver, just as culpable for the death penalty in a death penalty state, and you killed Judith, by getting the score, knocking on the door, and then, of course, the laughter afterwards. That happened, bro. That happened. Yeah, I'm California, bro. So, you want to keep Pauly G's name alive, yet you call murderers scumbags. When does a murderer not become a scumbag no more? When he cooperates with the government? Does that make him not a scumbag? Now he's a good guy? Now he wants to turn his life around, right? So I can murder somebody, and then if I cooperate, I'm a good guy, right? Because Pauly G was a murderer. You honestly don't know the story about why Pauly G's dead. You don't know. You think you know. 302s, cooperators. If I use the word rat cooperative, I'm just using interchangeable. You really don't know. And I confirmed that with Tommy just the other day. I'm like, Tommy, and that's, we'll get there. He doesn't even know. Tom, you don't even know. Yet you want to keep his name alive. You want to glorify him. So let me ask you this. I'm a little kid, right? Jimmy. Tell me about organized crime, Jimmy. Okay, well, yeah, it's bad, kid. You shouldn't do this. Okay, Jimmy, what about Pauly G? Oh, Pauly G's a great guy. But Jimmy, Pauly G killed people. Yeah, but that was different. But Jimmy, Pauly G started the Bath Avenue crew. Should we get t-shirts that said, love Pauly G forever? You understand? You can't glorify some son of a bitch who killed somebody and wanted to do, that's not my story to tell. I'm getting rattled up on something that's not my lane. I'm gonna stay out of my lane on that. I was gonna come talk about Pauly G's story, but I want, that's Tommy's to tell. That's Tommy's to tell, because you don't know it. You don't. So, if you, Jimmy Calandra, are trying to help kids, again, I believe you changed your life. I believe you're sincere about hating that life. But I believe you hate that life because the life left you. There was no space for you anymore after you cooperated, right? Now, wait a minute, because that makes it sound like I think you wanted to get back. Okay, let me give you an example. After you cooperated, I thought you went to the cheese factory. That's for rats. After people cooperated, there's like one in Otisville, one in Phoenix. But I think you didn't. I watched videos over and over again trying to see if you were talking about being with Gene Gotti. I got another story about that. If you were talking about Gene, was it during the 6-year time or was it after? Were you with guys from New York after you cooperated, and did they accept you? Or, because if you cooperated and gave your friends effectively a death sentence, that's what you gave Tommy and Fabrizio. You gave them death sentences in the beginning Fortunately, Tommy flipped that. If you cooperated, but then you went to prison, whatever prison you went to, I don't know, I don't know, and you hung out with the New York crowd, you didn't leave that life, because all those New York guys, they're living that life in the joint. You said in one occasion, they were talking about a guy. You didn't want a guy to live with some scumbag. When you said that, I almost shit my pants for real. I was like, this dude's got balls. You really don't think you're a scumbag. No, I'm not saying today. I'm saying in the realm of prison, okay? So I don't want anybody to get that confused. In prison, somebody who cooperated is just as low as a sex offender. I don't care. You might as well rape a child. What Jimmy did was the equivalent of raping a child in prison, okay? So they're looked at exactly the same. And he had the nerve, the audacity to call, like, I didn't want this guy to get a scumbag for a cellie. Now, if you cooperated and you have somebody come into your cell and you don't tell them that you're a cooperator, you're a scum fucking bag, because you can put somebody else's life at danger. So, question. After you cooperated and you got your cellie, did you make sure and inform all your cellies that you were a cooperator? Because you put all of them lives at risk. I know that in mediums, a lot of the mob guys really don't do a bunch. Put in work meaning, I'm sorry, guys that are active in the mafia out there, that's just from my observation. There's some cases where it's different. The point is again, you disassociated yourself with who you were in the prison setting. Now, Sammy the Bull, you look up to like a father, I guess. He cooperated, and then what did he do? He went out and ran a fucking drug conspiracy. Super scumbag. Did he change his life? No. Now he's got a YouTube channel. So he's telling stories to make money. And therein lies the root of it all. At least one of your co-defendants doesn't mind the stories that you tell. The problem the person has is that you chose to leave that life behind, and now you're using that life for monetary reasons. Sounds noble and it sounds great that you're doing it for children. But if you listen, everybody out there, if you really listen to Jimmy, he's never truly accepted responsibility. He's apologized. He said that life's bad, but he doesn't even see himself as a murderer. He doesn't see himself as the catalyst behind. He doesn't see himself as the catalyst behind the lady's death. He never showed or talked about any remorse when he ran a guy over. And he laughed when a lady's head was exploded. And ran back in telling jokes. A lot of tension in that car, right? Laughter in the back seat. What was Chris doing? Chris freaking out. Tommy, I'm going to hell. Finally, Tommy had to shut. You okay, Chris? You okay? Because you know what was going to happen. And were you part of the let's go get Chris and hit him team afterwards? Again, Jimmy Calandra, I really do respect your content. I do. I mean, I can't say enough what a great storyteller you are. You're going to be successful. You're going to have bigger things. Forget what I'm saying. I just look at yourself a little closer. I see you when you're attacked or you feel attacked or you're perceived an attack. You turn into like a common street bully. You come here, if you're in my face, da-da-da-da. You weren't a tough guy. You weren't. I know that. Doesn't mean you couldn't pull a trigger. Anybody can pull a trigger. I'm not from that life, but you know, it takes a man. That's what's lacking in prison. You don't see a lot of men, especially guys. I'm not gonna say. Yeah. You're not taking. You deflect. You put yourself outside. I'm the good guy. They're the bad. I'm from a good family. They're from, bad. They killed people. I didn't kill people. You killed people. You killed people, Jimmy. You killed them. You did. Make the show, drop the kid stuff. You're enticing kids to watch your show by the beginning of that show, by the way. I think it's an awesome intro. Any kid who sees it's going to want to watch it. And then he's going to hear some stories about how the mob's bad, but then we're going to glamorize Pauly G. We're going to memorialize him forever. So what started a new Pauly G gang one day? Pauly G never left that life. And he never cooperated. So the way you judged people who murdered, you call the murdering scumbags. I've watched your videos repeatedly. I mean, I've got you down for real. They're murdering scumbags unless they were your friend who was killed for reasons you don't even know. In the home was, now let me ask you, was the home a split level? Was there like Pauly's house downstairs and then the parents upstairs? I could be wrong because you always put it like it's one house, but I remember two, but I could be totally off. Really, I could be off. It affected you that Pauly got shot. You were number 2 to his number 1. I get it. And you guys lived a hell of a rough life. And I really am glad it's behind you. I think you're going to be even more successful. But I don't think you're sincere in your heart as far as wanting to tell these stories to change the way kids think. Of course, it's easy to say that, right? It's easy to do it, but whatever, like you're not showing that you fully accepted responsibility. You're just not. And what actions have you done towards children besides put an intro up that looks good? The intro makes you look like a good guy. Like, this is what I'm trying to do. And let me come back to myself. I have government official, one of them that can affect my life, that says that my shows are glamorizing prison life. I can see it. I can see what he's saying, and he believes like I got 1 foot in the criminal life, 1 foot out of the criminal life, whatever. Okay, cool. Judge me by my actions. What are my actions? Came out of prison. I work for a foundation called SCARS, Saving Children and Reviving Souls. Child advocacy group, bringing awareness towards bringing awareness towards sexually exploited children and physically. I'm sorry, I got stuck there for a second. COVID threw us back a little bit. Been pushing forward on that, but I'm not where I need to be, where I want to be. I want to work with juvenile offenders. I want to do big things on the criminal justice reform arena. One of the things that I want to do is I want to talk in front of Congress about changing prison, about changing sentencing laws, and I'm going to do it one day. The problem right now is me. I have my own issues. I suffer from addiction from childhood. I have had a drug problem on the street. I have drank. Just last week, I figured out that even drinking a beer or two, which that's on, what I do sometimes, still is masking my grieving process. That's a whole different issue. My point being, I'm no better than you. I'm not trying to say, matter of fact, I know I got one of your supporters is saying you're nothing but a California dope fiend. My response to him was yes. And all the New York mob guys undercover came to me. Joey Testa, hey, what about the babanya? Yeah, what about it? It's here. You got any on ya? So typical of my New York friends. Undercover motherfuckers. You guys are. I'm out there. I've always been out there. I'm a dope fiend. Yep. What's up? What do you got it? Hey man, don't tell this person Jojo. I know Joe. Yeah. Get the fuck. Anyway, it's goofy shit. All that goofy. Anyway, no better than you, Jimmy. Self-reflection is what it's about. I won't move forward. There's a juvenile place not far from where I'm at. I can go speak. I won't go do it because I'm not right within myself. So I'll tell my prison stories. I'll tell my truths like you're telling your truth. And you are telling the truth. Jimmy's not lying. Jimmy Calandra's not lying about what he's saying. He's just deflecting, making himself look better. I think inside he feels like he's better than everybody. Joey Testa believes he's better than everybody. Jimmy, you've got that same kind of aura about you. Yeah, you're sorry. Yeah, you're sorry. And I think, and I see you seethe. The mob, they made us kill each other, or we cooperated. You're really angry at them, but I think you're angry about yourself. I don't think you still actually got over the fact that you cooperated, which was a hell of a deal. When you're involved in the criminal lifestyle like you guys were, then you choose to cooperate, no matter how you justify it, that's a big hit to your psyche. That's a big hit. Your constitution, it shows you had a weak constitution. Doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't mean you're a bad guy. It just means that everything you told yourself you were, you're really not. You broke, you know? And I'm going to tell you something about real change. Tommy Reynolds got life. You always have to throw others in there when you talk about your cooperation agreement. So you and 3 others on every crime he committed helped get him life. Do you know when Tommy Reynolds went to Lewisburg, do you know one of the first things he did? Only associated with guys from New York when it was necessary. Why? Because, and he said, that life is all bullshit, Rob. It's all bullshit. Early on, Tommy Reynolds, who did not cooperate, who did not need to cooperate to change himself, figured out that life was bullshit. Now, Tommy did live with Benny Giarratano for a while. And the 3 of us and one of my brothers, we had a great time. There's some things happened in the end after I left, but that was the only new, well, he talked to Jack Menino before Jack went bad over the bank with Danny Fama's brother. I knew Jack well too. He talked to Danny Fama, who basically ran the Italians and ran J-Block. Danny was a friend of mine. But he tried to keep his distance. He didn't want to be like talking about it. It was like he didn't want to be in the circle. Hey, what's doing what? He disassociated himself when he was in prison. So Jimmy, did you do that too? Did you change then? Did you get away from the New York guys because they're still in that life when they're in prison? They're all still in that life. Because Tommy did. He changed early on. Not to say he didn't have some setbacks and some issues with substances. And I will say, I will put the blame on me. I mean, he wouldn't say that, but I would, because I was a bad influence in that part. But that guy changed. He doesn't deflect. He is like the most straightest shooter I've ever. Well, one of them that's like, you know, he takes responsibility for what he did. You know, you really don't. And with that said, I really think all you law enforcement out there, all you people that do praise Jimmy Calandra as having his life changed to better help kids, take a deeper look. He's informative. He can help the bigger picture by exposing. When you shine light on something, so you know, it's helpful. But to hold him up as somebody that's turned his life around and showed remorse, where's the remorse? He's a good guy. He's from a good family. They all aren't. He didn't just cooperate. There's 3 others who cooperated every time he cooperated. Oh, and at the door, when the lady's head came off, and I'm sorry to the families of the victim and Tommy's family. When I said I'm not trying, I'm making an overall point. What did you say, Jimmy? I almost got shot too. It came right past me. Put yourself in the victim's place. Again, I'm not like them. He almost killed me. I'm the victim. All you psychology majors out there, tell me I'm wrong. Go watch the videos. Do your thesis on Jimmy Calandra. I'm serious. He's like one of the most interesting people I've ever watched. I swear to you, I'm fascinated by the guy. At the same time, it's like so obvious. It's like I see all these people put all these comments and I'm like, man, who's calling me? There's somebody calling me. And I'm like, man, wait, you guys look a little deeper. Look a little deeper, you know? That's it. Take responsibility for your actions better. And, you know, I'm just a California dope fiend, as your crowd says. So maybe I'm a nobody. Maybe I'm totally wrong. And if I am, talk about how your family was so much better than Tommy Reynolds or Pauly. Oh, you said Pauly G's family was good too. So again, you and Pauly G good, everybody else bad. Right? Let's memorialize Pauly G so we can save kids from organized crime when Pauly G was aspiring to be organized crime and started a gang. Is that really changing your life? I get it that he was your good friend, but he was a scumbag murderer. Murderers are scumbaggers, remember? You say that. I mean, just go listen to yourself. I mean, yeah. Anybody out there who's in the criminal life, whether it be mob, drugs, whatever, Jimmy's right when he says there's not much loyalty, especially in gang. So I was involved in gang stuff in prison. Gang and organized crime. There is no real rules. The rules are each person tries to survive for themselves. Most of the time, sometimes you get loyal friends. And then sometimes you get a friend like Jimmy that wants to blame others, you know, and then throw you under the bus to justify throw you under the bus because he couldn't handle the pressure, but then wants to say that he did it because the life was bad. And I agree that the life was probably bad. And I agree that you have a lot of resentment. I just don't think you're a shining example to tell kids how to not do it and then have stories about having sex with the girl in the back who gave you crabs. And then because there's like a lot of funny, good stories, but it's not appropriate for kids. It's not. Neither is my channel. I mean, for real. Mine's not. Anyway, I got respect for you, Jimmy Calandra. I really do. I really do. I just, as a person who does a lot of self-reflecting for different reasons, I don't think you're an addict. I don't think yet. Mine's more about addiction issues, going back to Twinkies when I was a kid, and then video games, and then drugs. I mean, Twinkies. Do a lot of self-reflecting, and I just, like last week, I just learned a big thing about myself, and it just tripped me out. But I think you might come out screaming about this and talking shit, and I'm a scumbag. But I think at the end of the day, you might self-reflect off of it too. I really do. I wish you nothing but success. Tommy Reynolds has not... Anybody who thinks Tommy Reynolds is going to come home and give a damn about Jimmy Calandra is an idiot. Are you worried that Tommy's going to get out? Or are you worried? No, Tommy's not worried about Jimmy. The apology or the sincerity, I'm really happy for you. You said that fell on deaf ears. Have you wrote him a letter? Have you wrote anybody? Did you write for Brits and say like, hey guys, you know what, man? You guys were men, I was weaker. And so let me tell you something else. Talk about your father who was absent in your life like mine was. You said that too. My dad was so my dad was like, there's no criminals on my side of the family. I've got a couple of family members that are drug kind of things, but all my cousins, nobody's been arrested, nobody's been in a crime, nothing. My dad, totally square, good guy as far as a solid working man, strong work ethic. And my dad died, and I did a video about it, disappointed in me. I know he did. My dad was very disappointed in me. I was the youngest child and only son. And it wasn't because of my life of crime. It was because I never had a strong work ethic. My dad respected workers, and I'm not. He didn't respect me. But my old man was so damn proud of me for not being a snitch. He really was. And you know what? And it's sad because I did that to him. And, you know, we can go back and say he did it because he wasn't there, but I did it. I did the drug dealing. And it's sad because, you know, we can go back and say he did it because he wasn't there, but I did it. I did the drug dealing. And it's sad because, you know, we can go back and say he did it because he wasn't there, but I did it. I did the drug dealing. And it's sad because, you know, we can go back and say he did it because he wasn't there, but I did it. I did the drug dealing. And it's sad because he did have big respect for me for holding my own weight. And I'm going to tell you, it feels good that I did. I could have took 20 people with me. I weighed the options when I was put, hey, do you want to walk out of here? And actually, it was like 9 months at the time I already been in. Or do you want to go life in prison? I actually sat down and figured out how many kids everybody had. So I actually did think about kids back then, and my own 3 kids, who I don't have a good relationships with to this day because of the choice that I made by taking a life sentence on the chin. I knew I was going to get a mandatory life sentence. Thankfully, I got out on compassionate release. Maybe there's a grieving process you got to go through about being a snitch. To law enforcement who think I'm like cutting Jimmy up or saying something, I am pro law enforcement. In a civilized society, we need law enforcement. We need good, strong law enforcement. We need people who cooperate with law enforcement. But you guys in law enforcement know as well exactly what I'm saying. Nobody had respect for Jimmy or the cooperators after they cooperated. You might have said that you did. At the time, you did not. You did not. At the same time, Jimmy might not have had the same life that you had, so you did the right thing for what you felt was right. I don't criticize you for that. I'm going to lose subscribers over saying that. Like I'm not cutting you up for being a rat, no. Your constitution couldn't handle it. And that doesn't make you less of a man. But you're still very much in denial. You are, bro. All right, enough here. Jimmy Calandra, part of the Bath Avenue crew. Good guy. When he cooperated, there were always 3 people cooperating, telling the same story. Bullet almost hit him when the lady got killed. One hell of a YouTuber. I'm a subscriber. I'm still going to watch. I mean, one hell of a YouTuber. For real. He's great stories. If you want to know about that life, he puts it down like no other. Possibly next week will be about Benny Giarratano. Just talked to him yesterday for the first time in years. One-man wrecking crew, Benny. Benny Giarratano. Take care. I do have respect for you as a YouTuber, Jimmy Calandra. I really do. And damn, I'll let Tommy will say it one day. Tommy would be interviewed already. The problem is he wants to look at the interviewer. He has to see, or he would have been interviewed already. And I'll let him do all that. Take care.